It's been just over a week since a wildfire destroyed the town of Litton, British Columbia. And today, on a bus tour through the village, displaced residents getting a chance to see what remains of their town. Meanwhile, wildfires continue to rage across the province with more than 200 still active, many of them within 20 kilometers of Kamloops, which has a population of about 100,000 people. Todd Stone is the Liberal MLA for that area. He joins me now from Kamloops. Todd Stone, hello.
Hello, Kathleen. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. I'm curious how you're doing because, as I understand it, there are any number of out-of-control wildfires just within a few dozen kilometers of you. So just tell me a little bit and tell the audience what it's like in your neck of the woods right now.
Well, the interior of the province is literally up in smoke. We have well over 200 wildfires now. A good number of them, if not a majority, are in the Kamloops Fire Center, which is obviously a couple hours drive in any direction from where I am today. So we've had thick, choking smoke on most days, and it does clear out at times. You get a bit of a reprieve here and there, but lots of big, monster fires, I would almost say this year, that have sprung up that are causing a significant concern. And something a little different that we haven't seen for a while here in Kamloops was an actual interface fire that was a result of a lightning strike right between two very densely populated communities within the city limits of Kamloops. That happened on the evening of July 1st last weekend. That was a very, very dangerous situation that involved the evacuation of a heck of a lot of people.
Well, talk a little bit more about that because you had a close call. You and your family had to evacuate. So just, give us a little bit of insight into what it was like and what was going through your mind as you were trying to, do what you needed to do and keep your family safe.
Well, I'm hesitant to talk too much about my family for the simple reason that, the village of Litton pretty much burned to the ground recently. And so I can't imagine the heartbreak that comes along with losing some loved ones in your community as happened there, as well as losing their entire village. There's no RCMP station, there's no ambulance station, there's no store, there's no village office, there's very few homes that are left. So that's obviously the worst case result. It's tragic. In the case of Kamloops, we had just an unbelievably strong thunder and lightning storm roll through Kamloops on Canada Day and that evening, and it was accompanied with just a massive number of lightning strikes, and one strike hit about 500 meters from where my house is, in a densely populated area of Kamloops. There's literally hundreds of homes in this neighborhood, about almost 5,000 residents. And it was really instructive for everyone, not just those of us that were evacuated, but I think for the broader community here as to just how dangerous these wildfires can be, how quickly they can spring up, how quickly they can spread. I'm really happy to report that there were no structure damages, no loss of life, thankfully, and there's going to be some changes made to evacuation procedures moving forward to make sure that people can get out a bit faster than was the case on July 1st. But again, the results could have been far, far worse than they were had it not been for the valiant efforts of the Kamloops Fire and Rescue and the BC Wildfire Service that assisted in putting that fire out quickly.
And what are the changes to the evacuation procedures?
Well, the reality of the neighborhood where that I'm talking about in Kamloops, where I live as well, there's one paved road in and one paved road out for, again, about 5,000 people. There were a number of emergency egress locations or emergency exit locations in different areas of the community. Unfortunately, gates were locked when evacuations were taking place. They were opened up about halfway through the evacuation. there was only one lane of traffic going down that one paved road I mentioned, when it's a 3-lane road. So people were wondering why a couple more lanes weren't going down the hill. That would have likely uncorked the bottlenecks that existed in the community. But I think the most fundamental change that's needed, and the city of Kamloops has committed to this, and they're going to put the changes in place, my understanding is very quickly, is the communication. We have some exceptionally talented people in the Emergency Operations Center here in Kamloops. We need to make sure that they have the best possible tools to notify the public as to what's going on and what's expected of the public. What do people need to do to keep themselves and their families safe? Which direction do you drive when you're heading out of your community, when there's a number of choices? Those kinds of things. So I'm quite confident that those changes are coming very soon, and should we unfortunately be faced with another situation like we were last week, the community up here will be able to evacuate much more quickly.
And what is the risk right now?
Well, the risk right now is very, very high. It's severe. Remember, we had 40, well, here in Kamloops, we had between 45 and 48 degrees for about 7 to 10 days straight. In fact, we've been over 40 for about a 2.5 week period. We're now, and it's a bit strange to say this, but we now all feel the relief of 35-degree heat.
Yeah.
But we've got mid 30-degree heat projected for the next couple weeks straight. We've had very little precipitation in the interior of British Columbia through the spring and into the summer, and so you really had the coming together of the worst possible circumstances: long dry period, very little moisture, and then an absolute thunder and lightning storm for the ages that with very high winds and very little rain. That culminated in the fires that happened last week. And in fact, last night, we were all trying to sleep, but probably with one eye open for most of us, as another significant thunderstorm rolled through Kamloops and sparked a number of additional fires in the area. Thankfully, not near any densely populated areas, but this is a very dangerous wildfire season. There's no question about it. And the worst thing I think that we're all well aware of is that it's only early July. Usually we don't see these kinds of conditions until deep into August. So there's a long, dry, hot summer in front of us.
Yeah, no doubt people are on edge and will continue to be. Meanwhile, people are heading back to Litton today, and we should, point out that some of the people who were evacuated out of there found their way to Kamloops. So just give me sort of a sense of what you think it's going to be like for them to go back.
Well, the Thompson-Nicola Regional District, thankfully, and to their credit, has arranged a bus to take residents or buses to take residents into Litton today. There will be counseling services made available as well. I don't think there's any words that will likely be able to describe how residents of Litton are going to feel when they go back in and take a look at their village. As I said earlier, with a few exceptions, virtually every structure is gone, and a couple people, very tragically lost their lives in this fire. So it's going to take a monumental effort on the part of all British Columbians and the provincial government to extend their hands out to the people of Litton and help them rebuild their beautiful historic community. And this Litton is a community that's just rife with all kinds of incredible history, and it's a place that we all know very, very well here in the interior, and certainly I have friends there as well, and we're going to do all we can to help them rebuild. But today's going to be an extraordinarily difficult day for many of those residents. But those that choose to go on the bus tour have said it's an important part of their grieving and their ability to move forward is to really see the devastation with their own eyes, so that they can then begin to focus on where to go from here.
Clearly, just such difficult days, weeks. I mean, obviously the summer ahead and a very angst-ridden one as well. Todd Stone, really appreciate you taking the time just to give us sort of an insight into what the situation is like and what you're anticipating in the days ahead. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.